What about sometimes we have, even on a non-taxable estate, something called a transfer certificate. What is a transfer tax certificate from the IRS?
So the transfer tax certificate is you need it in two cases, I guess, would be the easiest thing to say. If you are a non-resident of the United States and you have an account in the United States, financial institutions will require that you get a transfer tax certificate before they will release the funds to your heirs. So that one's fairly straightforward. You're here from Canada, you've got a US bank account, you've got, $30,000 or $40,000 in it because, you're a snowbird and, spend the winters in Arizona and you want to have US cash that you don't have to worry about converting your Canadian dollars into US dollars. The IRS says that before the bank, if you die, before the bank will release the money to you, you have to have what's called a transfer tax certificate. That one is fairly understandable and straightforward because of the low $60,000 exemption. The one that's a little bit sneakier, and I was sharing this with you earlier, I have a couple who are both U.S. citizens, lived in Hong Kong. They have decided to move to Hong Kong, kept their U.S. citizenship. She passed away recently. She had worked all of her working life in the United States and had an IRA that has about $500,000 or $550,000 in it. Her husband, who is a U.S. citizen, is named as the beneficiary on that account. So the common advice on that would be, Sam, to do a spousal rollover, correct?
Yes.
Easy peasy. Call up the broker and say, my wife passed away. I want to do a spousal rollover. Send me the paperwork. Well, not so fast. Because even though they were U.S. citizens, because they were living outside of the United States, the brokerage firm is requiring a transfer tax certificate. And it is on the IRS website. I sent you a link if anybody wants to take a look, because they go, what? I don't believe that the IRS would do that. But it is on the IRS website. And in order to have that money released, you need to provide either a State Department Form DS 2060, which is the report of a death of a U.S. citizen abroad, or a death certificate and a copy of the photo page of the decedent's current U.S. passport or other proof of U.S. citizenship, and an affidavit written under oath before a notary that is signed by the executor, administrator, or personal representative of the estate, and includes a listing of all of the worldwide assets of the decedent, and says that, then basically swears to the IRS under penalty of perjury that there was no estate tax owed. Plus, you have to file an inventory of all of the assets that the decedent owned. Plus, if there were any estate tax filings required in the country where you resided, you have to provide a copy of that. And you have to provide a copy of the decedent's U.S. will or other testamentary instruments. All of that needs to be sent to the IRS. And pre-COVID, they said, once you send that in, it'll still take us 6 to 9 months minimum to issue a certificate that says, yes, financial institution, you can release the money to the person or the assets to the person that's asking for them.
Wow. I want to highlight a couple things here. Number one, this is for U.S. citizens.
Yep.
Even if you're an American, if you live outside of the United States, they can require this of you.
Correct.
Okay. So, and this is what would ordinarily, you could have a beneficiary designation.
Yep.
On your retirement account. And normally you just show them the death certificate, you get the money. Here, you have to get this transfer tax certificate from the IRS to get your money.
Yep. That is correct.
And it could take a long time.
Yep.
It could take a really long time to clear this up.
Yep. How are you planning to pay the mortgage next month?
Wow. Right. Yeah. I mean, if you need that money to take care of this, you're not going to be able to use this
Correct.
money for that purpose. Wow. That's
Correct.
really incredible.
Yeah.